Good morning. My name is Corina B. Manuel. I'm the editor-in-chief for the Pune Times Mirror and the Civic Mirror. With me this morning is this lovely young lady who I had the great fortune of hearing last night, or last evening actually. She had very kindly invited me for a seminar, and I got to hear her, and whatever she said resonated with me very, very deeply. And I chance me dance. So I kind of asked them whether she would like to come to our studio and speak to us today. And thank God she said yes, because I was really hoping to share her with all of you. My guest for this morning is Damini Grover. Hi, Damini.
Hi, Karina.
Hi. Damini is the founder of the I am movement. She's also a practicing psychologist, an award winning psychologist at that, a best selling author. She's worn a lot of hats. In fact, she was telling me this off when we were off camera. She was bringing me up to speed with what's happening with her, and there are a lot of firsts to her life. She's a dancer of 11 forms of dancing, and she's got into media. She's been out there. She's been talking to people. She's been hustling to get the message of mental well-being across the board to everybody. And this morning she's with us, and I'm really thrilled to have her here. Hi, Damni,
Hi,
again.
Karina.
Damni, why don't you tell us a little about yourself? Why don't you tell us how did it all start for you?
So I'm a psychologist and author, healer, and a fellow human being. For me, like I was telling you off camera, that being a therapist was not so much on the plan for me, but it was in the universe's plan. So it just made sure that I got dragged back to the healing life whenever I tried to run away from it. And then at some point, I dropped the struggle and I embraced it wholeheartedly. I was very clear right from the beginning that whatever I end up doing, and for the longest time, I didn't have any clue that what is it that I want to do, because I was not very academically inclined. I was not good at the traditional subjects, and back then, arts and humanities weren't really considered. They
Yes.
weren't given much importance. So people who couldn't do anything, they would go into arts and humanities. It was that. But for me, that was the only choice, because that was the only thing that I found myself excelling in. And gradually, I discovered other facets of myself. Arts is something that brings me a lot of joy. Healing, again, for me, is a form of art only. And at some point, I was clear that I wanted to do something of my own. When the path of being a psychologist or a healer or a therapist, that opened up for me. It took me some time, but then eventually it made sense that this is what I'm here for. And since then, I have not looked back at all. I love working with people, during my one-on-one therapy sessions and coaching. I've done workshops and I enjoy my sessions and seminars. I also have my own mental health initiative, which is called I Empowered Center for Counseling and Well-being, where again we are trying to help as many people as possible, in a very effective, personalized way, because that's the kind of therapeutic care that I received when I was going through a lot, and I'm still ever so grateful for my own therapists. Mental health is the need of the hour, has always been so. So the endeavor, whether through my writing, my books, this conversation that we are having, or the one-on-one work that I do with people, it's always been to tell people that there is a better life out there. You can become a better version of yourself. Yes, it's going to take some hard work. Life is not going to be easy, but we all need to learn and upskill in terms of leading that better life or understanding how to navigate it. And we all need somebody's support. So I've taken the support of my own mentors and therapists and coaches. And if I can be that guiding light to someone, I think that for me is, in a way, coming home. And that brings me immense joy and peace at the end of the day.
You know, yesterday when you were talking to us, a lot of that you said yesterday in the evening, it resonated very, very deeply with me, extremely deeply. Because like I was telling you off camera that I had lost my parents about 4 years ago, and for me, I grieved alone, because though of course I had my family and I had my brother and I had the rest of my family, But the grieving process was all mine. And I realized that grieving like happiness is a community sport. You need to have to have people around you to come to grips with what's the loss much more faster is not the right word, but it come makes you brings you closer to closure. So what do you think about it? What do you think?
Firstly, I'm glad that you brought this up because people don't talk about grief. Because we don't understand grief. We think it's something that we need to run away from, we need to hide it. And there is a constant pressure that every time somebody goes through a loss, now it could be a breakup, it could be the loss of, a loved one, parents, a pet, even opportunities for that matter. Any loss that we go through is profound. It's a life event. And, at the human level, we really don't know how to make sense of that loss.
Yeah.
It is going to bring up a lot of emotions, really difficult ones that you yourself don't know how to handle. And though grief is completely personal, no amount of hand holding or saying the right things is going to make your pain go away in that sense. It's the journey that you have to undertake through your own pain. But when you do have that support, when you do have somebody holding your hand, giving you that hug, or telling you that you don't have to rush through it, take your time.
Yeah.
Your pain will come and go in waves.
Yeah.
Just hold on, and we are there for you. It makes it a little more bearable.
Yeah.
It's not really about the pace at which you're grieving or you're healing through your grief.
Correct.
But it's just about whether you can hold space for yourself.
Correct.
For this loss that you have experienced, and whether people around you can do that.
Correct.
And like you said that happiness, when we are happy, we want to share it with the world.
Correct.
But when we are grieving, we don't want to share it with the world. One of the reasons is that the world also doesn't know how to support you through your grief.
Correct.
The world around you, people around you will try to minimize your pain. They will dismiss it. They will tell you things like, get over it and move on. Ho gaya, it happened, put it past you and kind of just, get on with your life. And that's not something that your grief is asking you to do.
Correct.
Your grief is actually asking you to slow down and honor what you don't have in your life anymore, the love that you have within for someone, and you just don't know where to put it.
Correct.
It's asking you to slow down and just sit with it like
Correct.
your best friend.
Correct.
But the world tells you the opposite stuff.
Correct.
Right? So people don't have an option but to either isolate themselves, because I don't know who to go to. People are saying all of these things. Logically, it's making a lot of sense. But it's not sitting with me emotionally. That's not what my inner world is asking for. So I'm going to shut down, or I'm going to find something to, drown myself in.
Correct.
Now, it could be socializing, it could be working, it could be, getting into a substance like alcohol, for example, right? But then we're just constantly looking for something that can distract us from our pain.
Correct.
Both the things are not what your grief is asking you for. Grief is just asking for space.
That's true.
And we need to give it that space.
That's true. I realize that because grief for me is a very personal thing. And sometimes you don't want to share personal with everybody, It is a private thing. You do not want to put yourself out there for everybody to dissect you and say, हाँ ठीक है, it happens. I can't stand the word it happens.
Or that's life.
Or just that's life.
That's life. It happens.
Yeah. It's a cycle.
Everybody goes through it.
Yes.
No, you don't need this. You don't want all of that.
You know all of it, but you don't know how. I mean, and I remember, and it's not that they mean badly. They mean well. They just do not know the right words to comfort you.
Exactly, because like I said, we're very good with the feel-good emotions.
Yeah.
Happiness, excitement, joy. We don't question these emotions.
Those are team sports.
Exactly. We don't question them, and the energy is such that we want to get out there and share them. But the minute something heavy, something uncomfortable shows up for us, right, we want to run away from it.
That's true.
The world around us is such that it'll tell you to run away from your own pain.
Correct.
So when you encounter these kind of moments, you really don't know what to do. And at the end of the day, most of us are just going to run.
Correct.
Because that's what we've heard.
Correct.
Right? But that's not what each of us actually wants internally. We want someone who can see us and hear us and hold us in our painful moments.
Correct.
And I think the starting point for everyone has to be their own selves.
Correct.
If I can comfortably talk about grief, if I can comfortably cry in front of you and not feel ashamed, not feel that, not even care about whether you're judging me or not,
Correct.
that's when I've actually made friends with myself at a deeper level.
Correct.
And then tomorrow when I see Corina crying, I will be able to extend that support. I'm not going to say these kind of things which I don't like myself. I wouldn't like it if you were to say, get over it and life happens. Yeah, life happens, but then it hurts also.
Correct.
Right? Your stomachache and my stomachache are going to be different. So yeah, everybody gets a stomachache.
Yeah.
But the suffering and the pain is different for everyone.
For sure, for sure. Damini, I also stopped when we were talking about this off camera. I was talking about the fact in the olden days when you had a joint family, it was your grief could be handled by different people, but there was a commonality over there. Everybody had a loss at the same time. Somebody must have lost an aunt, an uncle. They must have lost a father, a mother, a sister, a brother, a child. For them, the grief was a common one, so they could understand your grief. But today, we live in an isolated world of nuclear families, where there a unit of 4, a unit of 3, or a unit of 2, and you do not know how to handle that. What do you think about it?
Like we were discussing, I think one of the biggest changes that has come about is that even though earlier people were living in a joint family, right, there was a lot of masking that used to happen. It's not that relationships were not fragile. It was not that they were not fraught with conflict or misunderstandings or misgivings, but you just had a lot of other people and a lot of other activities to distract yourself with. But now that the unit has become smaller, it's just the two of you or the three of you. The other distractions, one, have gone away. And the disconnect between the people in the unit, those two people, be it a husband, wife, parent, child, right, that disconnect is far more because of two reasons. One, people are disconnected from themselves.
Right.
They don't know what is happening in their own inner world, and everybody is so caught up in the hustle culture, right, trying to make ends meet or achieve milestones, that they don't think that their inner world is important. What they fail to understand is that it's your inner world which is actually driving everything on the outside, because the blueprint of everything actually first generates in your mind.
Correct.
So your thoughts actually do end up shaping your reality or how you're going to be showing up in the world. Right? So, but people don't want to put in that effort. They can give a lot of excuses that we don't have time, we have to travel, and there are so many responsibilities. Hey, but it was always like that. You won't find any human being who does not have their own share of responsibilities. Yes, some things are easier, lighter. Sometimes, the phase of life is different. But at the end of the day, we all have an inner world. And if we don't connect with ourselves, we will not know what to do in the external world. So that's one major thing. And second is that because the outside distractions are so much, it's everybody just is looking for a quick fix. I don't want to feel uncomfortable even for a second. So the minute my anxiety shows up, the minute my mind is trying to convey something, or I'm feeling upset about something, I'm just going to open my phone and scroll, right? I'm just going to even like spiritual bypassing is a term that has come up a lot, which is that people know that they have work to do, but they are going to get into spiritual healing modalities in terms of gaining knowledge or picking up rituals, but nobody wants to actually take the pain of doing the real work of sitting with your emotions, with your fears, with your issues. Right? So they want to bypass their pain. So there you have your scrolling, you have, drowning yourself in your work, or just, looking for people that you can hang out with. They just want to distract because I want that instant fix. I want that instant hit. That's it. So I feel good and I go back to doing the same things that put me in that place in the first place.
It's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it's absolutely a cycle.
I can imagine that, and I get it. I completely understand where we are coming from on this one, because I think at some point of time we are all guilty of doing that,
Yeah.
And most of us, we throw ourselves into work or into a different thing just to distract ourselves from what's really there, to address the white elephant into the room in the room, which brings me to your topic, your forte, self-love, and I realized when I was hearing you yesterday, I thought to myself, damn, this girl has got her mantra right. And you made a lot of sense last evening. And that it, like I said yesterday, I said this morning also, it resonated very deeply with me. I loved what you were talking about. I talked, you spoke about, if you don't, it's basically boils down, if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to love you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
And
know,
even if people do love you, you will not be able to receive it, the way you truly want to, and the way deep down you somewhere know you deserve
yeah,
it. You just won't be able
yeah,
to. The quality will not be
yeah,
the same.
because it's unconditional love.
Absolutely.
Because everybody, like they say, no, life is good, but you have terms and conditions.
Absolutely.
You
So,
know,
no, one part of you will always be like, hey, but, maybe there's something wrong, or this can't be true, or I don't deserve, these good things. So, you are also going to reject any goodness that life is going to bring your way. You're going to call
mm,
it luck or fluke or just a phase, but you truly won't receive it.
correct. That's true. So tell me, how did you break the code on self love? Tell us a little about that.
Well, at the heart of breaking the code of self love lies my own personal healing. I mean, it would be very easy and very fancy for me to say that, oh, I'm an expert on this and I've worked with people and all of that. But that's not true. I have worked on myself. I have seen the good side and the dark side of life, and I've seen a lot of dark side. And it's through my own healing, my own work, that I came to understand the fundamentals of self love. It's only then that I was even able to help people around me. If I didn't get it right, then I would not have the necessary knowledge or tools to even help people. So yeah, it started with me, and that's why I always say that everything eventually begins with you.
Yeah.
So when you've got yourself right, you will be able to figure out the next thing. So it
Correct.
just started with me, and then at some point I realized that okay, whatever I have gone through life and whatever knowledge, support, resources I received in my healing journey through all the people who have helped me to literally sit here. Because there was a time when I was physically also immobile. So a lot of therapists have sort of literally worked on me spiritually, emotionally, physically to help me sit here and have a conversation. So I just felt that it's only natural for me to just extend this knowledge outwards, and anybody who is struggling in any way, if this can help them to have a better relationship with themselves, shift something in their life a little, then why not? I mean, what's my suffering going to be of? I mean, it won't be of any use if I can't help someone.
Correct. Self love literally boils down to making sure your inner foundation is strong.
Absolutely.
Once you're strong inwards, you can be strong outwards. Like I when you were talking to me just now, I kept thinking about the airplane philosophy. First wear your mask on before you help somebody wear theirs on.
Absolutely. And there is sense to that. No, if you want to help the person next to you, but in the process you've lost out on your life,
Correct.
right? What was the point?
Correct.
You went away and you could not even help the other person. But if you're smart enough to put on the mask first, you actually might be able to help 3 4 other people sitting around you.
Correct.
That is what self love is, right? That it's sometimes you have to put yourself first.
And it's not selfish.
No, it's interesting that we use the word selfish so loosely.
Correct.
Without even understanding what the word means. And so I actually broke this down in my first book, which is The Intentional Being. I actually went on Google and I searched for the meaning of the word selfish. Like, what does it actually mean, so that I get it right and people get it right? The thing is that you become selfish when you're trying to fulfill your agendas, knowing that you're going to harm someone. You are aware of the harm, and you're still choosing to go ahead and do something for your own benefit.
Yeah.
Tell me that if I today tell you that Karina, I want to eat healthy. You can eat whatever you want, but hey, this is the dish that I want to choose for myself. How is it selfish to you?
Correct.
What am I taking away from you if
Correct.
I am making a different choice for myself that doesn't align with you? It is going to become selfish if in the process of me trying to get something healthy for me, I'm hurting you, I'm harming you. I can see the impact that it has on you, yet I'm saying that I really don't care
correct.
what she's going through. I'm just going to go ahead with my stuff. So that is what selfish really is. And when we're talking, and I've always said this, that when we talk about love, Love is nurturing, it's creating, it's warm and nice and fuzzy. It heals. How can it create something damaging? It just simply can't.
Correct. And how is it selfish to love yourself? Because unless you love yourself, you can't really love anybody else. It's basically the same acronym or axiom of charity begins at home. You know, it's that way.
Exactly. Because the kind of relationship that you have with yourself, the kind of conversations that you have with yourself, this is what you're going to put out into the world. So let's say if I am, so one of the components of lack of self love is that you're very critical to your own self.
Yeah.
So if in your head you're constantly putting yourself down, you are not appreciating the effort that you're putting in, you keep finding faults in yourself, you have these lovely adjectives that you use for yourself, which only make you feel worse about yourself. The next time when you see somebody in your family or in your friend circle going through something similar, you will, without realizing, you will put them down as well, right? And so when you start changing the way you speak to yourself, so let's say when you start becoming more compassionate to yourself, you will be able to extend the same compassion to
Your
others.
empathy is higher.
Exactly. And this is what relationships need. This is how relationships nurture and flourish. So even when you have to make a choice which may not be aligned with the other person, it's how you make that choice. It's how you also support them within that misalignment. You will be able to do all of that without
Correct.
coming across as rude or brash or someone who really doesn't give a damn. So it does start with you. When you start healing, when you start having a better relationship with yourself, the relationship with people around you, that also transforms for the better.
For sure. I can't agree with you more. So let's come back to a book right now. Coming home. Time to come home. So tell me about that.
I've always said this, that I wish I had a fancy story to tell you as to how the book came about, but there is no fancy story. It was just a conversation between me and the publisher, where we wanted to explore something around mental health, and I said that people are really struggling with self love. I see it day in and day out, and why don't we do something about it? It's the need of the hour. And they got back to me saying that there are so many books on self love. So what are you going to be, I mean, how is your book going to be different? If you can give us something different, then great, we'll go ahead with it. Otherwise, fine. And that for me was the challenge, that okay, how do I talk about something that has been talked about, right? But then I also realized that it's not so much of a challenge, if I look at it as a journey that I have undertaken, and I have supported people to do the same, and they have transformed in their lives. So if it was just about putting out these stories which were raw, which were real, authentic, and not coming, I mean, fine, I'm a psychologist, I'm a therapist, but I even when I work with people, it's more on a, like, a fellow human being kind of a level, right? So if it's coming from one human being to another, rather than somebody who's trying to, for the lack of a better word, talk down to people, it would just have more of a connect. So for me, then it was just about how do I put it, like, get my writing skills in order so that I can put the message out. And I think I did a good job.
Well done.
Yeah, because and I say that because I actually and I put this out on my Instagram today as well. I really never thought that this book can make a difference in somebody's life.
Wow.
I really didn't. I just wanted to put something out there. It was like, something was, it was like vomit. It was coming out. Like, I wanted to put something out there, right? Without having any thought about whether it's going to sell, whether people are going to like it, what is my objective behind it. I had nothing. I wanted to write for the sheer pleasure, joy of writing, and for sharing whatever I've gained so far in life. But today morning, I realized that this book is special. It's special for me. It's a coming home for me, and it's also special for people who are picking the book up, and who send me DMs, who send me messages that we read your book, and I loved it. This line that you wrote, or I'm trying to do this activity, and I really like it. So that's when I was like, okay, girl, you've done a good job, right? And a
Wow.
huge component of loving yourself here is, which I think, again, I realized that maybe my self love has gone up a notch, is when you are truly able to appreciate yourself
Yeah.
without attaching so much importance to results. So for me, it's
Nice.
a job well done for me. I like it and I love it when people come up and tell me that we really like your book, but I don't care about the sales. I don't care about the money. I don't care how many people have read it. Also,
Though that doesn't really hurt.
of course, it doesn't hurt, but the thing is that with lack of self love comes a chasing of external outcomes,
Yeah. True that.
right? And why I'm bringing this up is that not to praise myself, but I mean, I can praise
You can
myself. I should
actually.
praise
I was
myself.
just, I
Yeah,
just looked at
I
you.
tell people to do that, so yeah, why not?
Right.
But it's really important for us to recognize that we really cannot control external outcomes.
Yeah, we can.
We simply can't. So, like I said, I wrote the book with a certain intention in mind, but I never attached myself to results. And I'm glad that I did it this way, because I'm sitting and having a conversation with you. Overnight something came about.
Yes.
People walk up to me and they tell me that, all these good things about the book, only because I never really cared about the result.
Right.
If I did, I would probably roaming around with a lot of anxiety and worry as to whether my book is selling or not, whether people are liking it or not. And then, a lot of other behaviors would stem out of that chasing. But coming home to yourself is also understanding that you cannot control results. You
Correct.
can only control your efforts. So work on your efforts, get your heart right, get your intention right, and life will flow through you.
That's true. That's very true. You were talking to me something else a little earlier when we were talking off camera. We did a lot of conversations off camera actually. You were telling me something, and I love the fact you told me that I wanted to run away from psychology. I mean, it didn't want me to go. I keep coming back to it time and again,
Yeah.
and it's the universe telling me, this is what you need to do. So tell me a little about this moment of yours where you had to finally bow down to destiny.
Well, so
It sounds a little esoteric, I know, with science, but what the heck? Let's
no,
go
but
for
it is actually true, because my entire life has been about personal growth and healing, and like I said, seeing the dark side of life and learning how to pick myself back up when I had no support, and I mean. I mean, going to the depths of emotional despair and picking myself back up from there. So it has been about that. And in terms of choosing psychology, so it started off with me having to decide whether I want to get into psychology or media. Media had always been a dream, because I was good at singing, dancing, writing. I, at one point, wanted to get into radio. I wanted to write professionally. And I even got admission in, Simbi, Pune. But then I was the one who turned that down, because something in me said that you're not meant for this. You're good at it, but you will not be able to sustain. And I really didn't understand. I was really dejected and disappointed in myself, that why am I saying stuff like that? But a couple of years later, I understood why. Because I was meant to be a healer. I tried different courses. At one point I became a CELTA trainer. So I taught English as well. So I've done a couple of things. But the kind of satisfaction, the kind of that feeling of that, hey, this is it, and I'm at home and I can be at ease, that I got through healing and therapy, I was just not getting it anywhere. Even today, I have a lot of these aspirations for myself, where I want to dabble into different things, and they're still media related, but I'm not able to pursue them with that much gusto, because my soul is just programmed for healing. So everything just kind of brought me back here. Courses didn't work out. I didn't feel connected, and eventually it was like,
Is it important for you to feel connected?
oh, absolutely. I cannot do anything. I cannot be in equations where I don't feel intellectually and emotionally connected. I simply can't. I tap out in like seconds.
You can't fake it.
No, I can't. I think it's a plus point as well, but a slightly, it has its cons. The fact that I need connection. I am super involved. I give my 100% to everything, and I'm pretty straightforward about things. So in some cases it works beautifully, but yeah, it has its downside too. But I wouldn't want myself to be any other way. I think I've worked too hard on myself to get myself here.
I can imagine. And good for you. Why compromise? I mean, That's, I mean, we compromise on practically everything, but not on
Yeah.
ourselves,
Not, and that's the essence of self love,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
you see, if I can't do it for myself, I have no right to go ahead and talk about it.
That's so true. So, the gist of your book is about, you talk about coming home to yourself. You talk about self love, but tell me one thing: when you talk about self love, does it come at a cost?
Oh, yes, it does. Personal transformation and loving yourself does come at a cost, and everything comes at a cost. There are no free lunches in the world. So even when you are pleasing your way through life, and people pleasing, just doing things for others without any regard for yourself, that is costing you your inner peace, that is costing you your happiness, it's costing you your mental, emotional, and physical health.
Yeah.
Similarly, if you decide to be more loving towards yourself, that will also extract a cost, in the sense that you are going to outgrow relationships. People will not understand you when you start speaking your truth, when you start standing up for yourself. People will find you difficult or brash, or, oh no, this one doesn't accommodate anymore, she's not the same, or he's not the same. Your boundaries are going to make people uncomfortable, right? And you may also end up making very radical changes in your life, because you are not aligned to how things were. You want to move towards something different, right? So you've got to be able to pay that price. You have to make people uncomfortable, you have to be okay with getting rejected, or outgrowing equations, people not understanding you. You
Moving
have to be
on.
okay with that. Yeah, yeah. if
Yeah.
if you want to be closer to yourself, you have to let go of people, places, choices, opportunities that no longer serve you. And if you choose to stay the same, then you're paying a price, which is your own self. So
Yeah,
you've got to choose what is it that you can afford.
for sure. Damini, we live in an isolated world ever so often, especially post COVID. That has become even more pronounced now. I think COVID saw the most number of divorces.
Hmm.
If you remember that, and it also saw a lot of um, restructuring, realigning of our relationships. What is your one takeaway from that entire? Because 4 years of 2 years of COVID, lockdowns and isolation, and it also came up with this really fancy word, which is actually an oxymoron: social distancing. So how does that work over here?
Um, um, I think COVID broke down a lot of structures. So, in a way, if marriages started crumbling, anything that doesn't have a strong foundation will anyway crumble
Hmm.
at some point or the other. And, when it comes to relationships for a lot of people have already crumbled. It's just that they've put a blanket over it, and they've somehow found a way to
Yeah,
just kind of make it work.
for parents' sake,
Yeah, for
children's,
society,
yeah,
children, and
log kya
all of log
kahenge.
kya kahenge. So those things have already been there, but because COVID forced everybody to stay in the same space like 24/7, you did not have anything to distract yourself with. It just became unbearable for people.
Yeah.
So that's the reality that actually came out, not like it was something new that came into existence. And it then also brought to the fore the gap that has always been there in relationships. How people are incompatible, they don't understand how to make relationships work. Majority of individuals only understand tags: boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, or marriage. But they don't really know what it takes to make a marriage work, what it takes to make a relationship work, because again, you need skills.
Yeah, and also relationship needs work. No, it's
It's
like
work
any other,
every
yeah,
day.
every day.
Yeah, it's work every day, and people don't want to put in that work. They think that relationship is something that's going to take care of itself on its own, right? Or many times, in majority of the relationships, there is an imbalance of labor. Like, there is one partner doing more than the other,
Hmm.
and this can't be consistent. Of course, relationships are not 50-50. Sometimes they're going to be 80-20, or 90-10, or 60-40. But as long as the percentage varies, and the load gets distributed somehow or the other, people can sustain. But if it's only one person doing the heavy lifting, and the other person is already tapped out, what relationship are we anyway talking about? So even in today's world, I think the meaning of relationships, how people are looking at it, or how they're trying to understand compatibility, talks of, having an emotionally safe partner, being in an emotionally safe relationship. Now, these are the terms we never spoke about.
Safe space.
Yeah, but these are coming up now. And so in a way, this crumbling is good, because old structures need to break for new ones to come about.
I was just thinking of that.
Yeah. But then the flip side also is that sometimes we take things way too far. Relationships require time, they need
Yeah.
patience, they need stability. And you cannot just run away at the sight of the first argument or the first conflict, or the minute you see something in a person that you don't like, you immediately term it as a red flag, and you're ready to run away.
Correct.
Right? Long, stable relationships, they need investment, they need time, and people are not doing that also.
Yes.
So at some point, everybody needs to come back into the center, where
Yeah.
it's a little bit of both.
Correct. My mom used to say something. She used to say that in her time they didn't have too many divorces, because she said what was broken you had to fix it. Today, you guys, when the moment is broken, you just move it to the back or to your storage area, the back of some cupboard, and you look for a new gadget, or a new partner for that matter.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, that's the flip side. If something is not working, please try your level best to make it work.
Yeah, but not at the cost of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, not at the cost of yourself. And if you see that it has started to cost yourself, then yes, it's time for you to take a lot of steps back and assess what is happening, but not at the first time. So be aware, be cautious, but don't be in a hurry. Give yourself and give the person, the relationship, its due consideration, and then make your choice. You anyway don't get to know anybody in 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, unless of course something is standing out very obviously, but you've got to give it that much time.
But sometimes if you know somebody for a very long time, you still have a problem there too. You get comfortable with each other and you take each other for granted.
Exactly. And that's why relationships take a lot of work. It's conscious work every day, just like you go to office and you're taking your work very seriously, right? Meeting all the deadlines and making sure that you're reaching on time. Even the smallest of the paperwork is taken care of. You're very cautious. You have to treat your relationships like that, right? Why are you so invested in your work? Because you're getting something tangible out of it, right? You won't get your salary, you won't get that promotion, you won't get that bonus. You see those tangibles. The issue with relationships is that people themselves don't have clarity as to what is it that they're looking for in a relationship, right? Because for the lack of a better word, the intangibles in the relationship, or the deliverables in their head are not clear.
Yeah.
They really don't know what to do when they're in the relationship space.
Correct. That's true.
Right? And then when things start crumbling, I mean, it's not even about crumbling. Things crumble because people are not putting in that much work. So every day you've got to be conscious of how much time you're spending, whether you're having the right kind of communication, and not just "Aaj tumne khana khaya, tumhara din kaisa tha." It has to go beyond that. You have to learn how to resolve conflicts in a way that sits well with both of you. So again, a lot of skill building that needs to be there. So just because you've claimed the other person, you've put on a title, right? It doesn't mean that the relationship is going to work on its own.
That's true. And that brings me to another thing. When you're talking about hygiene checks, you're talking in relationships. You also need to take a mental health check also, okay, every now and then, to assess yourself. And unfortunately, today's time, when you talk about mental health, today's become a very fancy word, to be parried around in cocktail circuits. But the fact remains, mental health is a very serious issue. What are your thoughts on it?
No, I completely agree that yes, it's a very serious issue. In fact, mental health concerns have always been there, but nobody wanted to talk about them because there was so much of stigma and taboo around it, that you'll be perceived as weak or incompetent, somebody who can't take care, pagal, and you don't have a grip on your own life, and a lot of judgment. So people never really spoke about their struggles. That was one. A lot of times people didn't even have any awareness. Like anxiety. So if you look at our parents' generation, the generation before that, it's not that they didn't go through anxiety or they never had panic attacks. They did. They just didn't have the vocabulary for it.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was happening. They didn't know who to go to. And even if they thought of going to someone, the next layer was the judgment that would come
Yeah.
with it, or the invalidation, or the dismissing of their experience that would come about. So people didn't really put
Yeah.
themselves out there. But COVID, of course, changed all that. And it forced us to acknowledge the fact that there is a mental health crisis, and it's only going to increase. So today, yes, we need more therapists. We need people to be more open about their own mental health. How that you have to take your physical health very seriously. You have to eat well, you have to exercise well, sleep well, and in your own ways. I mean, everybody's trying to make some or the other adjustment, right?
You need to
You
empower
need
yourself.
Exactly. You need to take that time out for yourself. You can, again, two ways to look at it: a preventive approach to mental health and a curative approach. Curative approach is that when the damage has been done, you have no option but to take help. But you can also take a preventive approach where, if you, like you said, when we institute certain checkpoints in place, right, where I'm taking out 15 minutes to journal, just put my thoughts down, 15 minutes to meditate, go for my walk, just listen to some music, talk to a friend, or even have a therapist or a coach with me, with whom I can share the things that I normally know won't be able to.
Right.
Be open to taking support and help as and when needed. And it doesn't have to be professional all the time. It has to be about you tapping into some resource, like a family, friend, and any group. So talk about the things that are hurting you, that are troubling you, so that you can navigate them effectively. So having those checkpoints in place supports you. It makes sure that things don't snowball, and in case they have, like, you've tried everything but still things are not working, then please do reach out and take that help.
Right.
It may take you time to find the right therapist, or a coach, whatever it is that you're looking for.
And there's
But
no shame in it. There's no shame in asking for help
oh,
of any
absolutely,
kind.
absolutely. There is no shame in it. And if it hadn't been for my therapist, right, if I hadn't gone through my own breakdowns, my own healing, I would not be talking to you. I would not be able to. That's completely my personal opinion. I'm not saying that it applies to every therapist, but I don't think I would have been able to be effective at my work. I would have been able to talk to you very authentically about all of this. So I still reach out to my therapist very shamelessly. Sometimes even for things which after 2 minutes I realize this was very basic,
Yeah.
and I could have just resolved this on my own.
Yeah.
But just knowing that I have support, knowing that I have someone who doesn't judge me, who gets me the way I want to, that just makes a huge difference in me being okay with myself and how I'm handling life.
Correct.
Right. So yeah, just find a good support system for yourself, even if that means it's a therapist for you.
Correct. So coming to your I Am Powered Foundation, your movement. Tell us a little about that.
So, I mean, I wouldn't call it a movement. It's just a small, initiative that I have.
It's starting to snowball into one action.
I'm hoping. So right now it's me, and I have 3-4 other team members. So we're a team of psychiatrists and my associate psychologist, and we work together in helping people to support them with their mental health concerns, anxiety, depression, relationship issues, any other stressor that they can't sort of help themselves with, working through a lot of childhood trauma, complex trauma. So we're doing that, and our endeavor is to one, bring our best selves to the table, and work with people who are aligned with us, who want to put in that work on themselves, because we genuinely want to make a difference in people's lives, because we know the difference that somebody else has made to us. So I think it's just a passing down of a legacy, or whatever you want to call it.
I would like to call it pay it forward.
Yeah, pay it forward. Yeah, actually, that's the right word.
Yeah.
So that's just a small initiative that I am trying to build. And I also feel that it all started because I also realized that I can't be there everywhere. I can't support everyone.
Yeah.
I also need some helping hands, and there are some brilliant therapists out there. I think my two psychologists, my psychiatrists, they are really good at what they do. They're open to growth and learning, and we need more such people out there. And I'm happy to support anybody, any professional in whatever capacity that I can, so that all of us come together and we support more people.
Wow. And on that note, we'd like to thank you, Damini, for talking to us this morning. In every sense of the word, she's a true wellness hero. somebody who's taken a lot of pride in healing herself and then reaching out to other people. The true meaning of self-love comes from loving yourself. If you love yourself, you're okay. You can actually reach out and love other people too, and have other people loving you also. Thank you, Damini, so much for coming to meet us this morning.
Thank you,
It's been a
Karina.
pleasure
It
speaking
was
to
a
you.
lovely conversation. Thank
Likewise,
you.
absolutely. Thank you so much, love.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye.